So, picture this. South Africa. Beautiful place, right? Table Mountain, Kruger Park, a history so complex it makes your head spin. But lately, there's been a new kind of rumble. We're seeing a surge in right-wing activism, and they're not exactly whispering their opinions. They're challenging the police, questioning authority, and making a whole lot of noise. These aren't your garden-variety political debates, folks. We're talking about groups who feel the country is going in the wrong direction and they're pointing fingers. Often those fingers are pointed at the government, at policies they don't like, and sometimes, let's be honest, at anyone who doesn't look like them or think like them. It's a tense situation. You can feel it in the air, that underlying hum of disagreement that's threatening to become a full-blown argument. And in a country that's still healing from decades of division, these new fractures are, shall we say, unhelpful. Now, right-wing sentiment isn't exactly a brand new import to South Africa. It's been around, simmering under the surface. Just when you thought the local drama was enough, cue the international guest stars. And who better to amplify a bit of chaos than, you guessed it, figures like Elon Musk and former US President Donald Trump. Suddenly, South Africa's internal squabbles are getting prime-time coverage on the world stage, or at least on their very influential social media feeds. It's like your family arguments suddenly being broadcast on a jumbotron. Mr. Trump, for instance, recently had a chat with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. And by chat, I mean he apparently confronted him armed with videos and images alleging the persecution of Afrikaners. One of these videos even featured that catchy, if slightly alarming, Shoot the Boer song. Now the BBC later found that these materials contained, shall we say, numerous falsehoods. Shocking, I know. Then there's Elon Musk, a son of South Africa, now a citizen of, well, Mars apparently. He's also chimed in accusing the South African government of fostering a genocide against white farmers. He's criticized land laws and affirmative action policies, calling them racist. This international validation is like rocket fuel for some of these local right-wing groups. Figures like Ernst Roetz from AfriForum were quick to praise Trump's actions. Alright, let's talk about the big, scary phrase that gets thrown around a lot: white genocide. It's a powerful term, designed to evoke fear and outrage, and it's the central claim of many of these right-wing narratives. They paint a picture of white farmers being systematically targeted and killed because of their race. It's a terrifying image. But like many scary stories, it's important to turn on the lights and see what's actually there. So, let's look at the numbers, shall we? Because facts, as they say, are stubborn things, even when they're inconvenient for your narrative. South Africa's police minister, Senzo Mchunu, recently released some crime statistics for January to March 2025. And guess what? They kind of debunked this whole white genocide thing pretty effectively. In that period, out of 6 people killed on farms, 5 were black. These included 2 owners, 2 employees, and 1 manager. Only 1 was a white farm resident. The previous quarter, October to December 2024, saw 12 farm murders, with 1 white farm owner among the victims. The minister himself said the history of farm murders has been distorted. And it's not just the police minister. A South African judge back in February 2025 dismissed the idea of a white genocide as clearly imagined in an inheritance case. So how does this challenge to authority actually look on the ground? It's not always dramatic Hollywood-style showdowns. Often it's a war of narratives, a battle for public opinion, fought with protests, propaganda, and carefully chosen provocations. Afrikaner right-wing organizations like the Solidarity Movement are pretty savvy when it comes to this. They've been actively campaigning not just in South Africa but internationally, trying to get their version of the story out there. They celebrated big time when Donald Trump took their claims about Afrikaner persecution straight to President Ramaphosa. It was a PR win for them, no doubt. Part of this strategy involves presenting evidence. Remember those videos and images Trump was shown? Some of them included EFF leader Julius Malima's controversial Shoot the Boer song. Now this song is a whole can of worms on its own. It's provocative, it's divisive, and it definitely makes people uncomfortable. But, and this is a big but, South Africa's Supreme Court of Appeal has previously ruled that such songs, in their specific context, are not literal calls to violence. They're seen more as a way to advance a political agenda, however unsettling the lyrics might be. But try explaining that nuance when it's being used as proof of impending doom. Section 5. The government claps back official responses and rebuttals. Now, the South African government isn't just sitting back and letting these narratives run wild. They've been pushing back, trying to set the record straight, though sometimes it feels like they're playing whack-a-mole with misinformation. President Ramaphosa and Police Minister Mchunu have consistently and quite forcefully refuted the claims of a white genocide. They've also pushed back against the idea that the state is sanctioning land grabs targeting white farmers. They're basically saying, hold up, that's not what's happening here, folks. It's a tough job trying to shout facts over a chorus of fear. When Donald Trump made his comments, it wasn't just the South African government that raised an eyebrow. Section 6. This land is our land. Or is it? The eternal question. Land. In South Africa, land isn't just dirt and grass, it's history, it's identity, it's a wound that has never fully healed, and it's right at the heart of many of these tensions. Earlier in 2025, President Ramaphosa signed a new Expropriation Act into law. This act allows for land expropriation without compensation in certain, very specific circumstances. The aim? To address the massive historical imbalances in land ownership that are a direct legacy of apartheid. You know, that little system where a tiny white minority ended up owning most of the land. Let's talk numbers for a second because they're pretty stark. According to 2017 data, and while the exact figures might shift slightly, the general picture remains. White South Africans, who make up about 7% of the population, owned roughly 3/4 of the agricultural land. 3/4. That's like one person at a dinner party of 10 eating 75% of the pizza. It's going to cause some issues. The new Expropriation Act is an attempt, however controversial, to start rebalancing that scale. Section 7. The real villains, crime, poverty, and a history of hurt. So if it's not a white genocide, and if land reform isn't just a massive land grab, what are the real issues plaguing South Africa? Well, buckle up, because the list is long and a lot less sensational than the headlines suggest. First up, crime. South Africa has one of the highest murder rates in the world. We mentioned 75 homicides a day. That's not a problem affecting one group. It's a crisis that touches every single segment of society. Black, white, colored, Indian. Everyone is living with the fear and reality of violent crime. It's the unwelcome guest at every South African's door. Then there's the economy. Oh boy, the economy. We're talking massive inequality. World Bank figures from 2022 showed that white workers earn, on average, nearly 3 times the average wage of black workers. 3 times. And the unemployment rate? A staggering 32% as of recently. That's almost 1 in 3 people who want a job and can't find one. When you have that level of economic disparity and desperation, crime often follows. Section 8, South Africa's Balancing Act, dodging disinformation, seeking stability. So, where does all this leave South Africa? It's like the country is walking a tightrope. On one side, you have these very real, very serious socio-economic problems and the complex legacy of apartheid. On the other, you have these loud, often misleading narratives being amplified both locally and internationally. And the government? It's trying to keep its balance, which is no easy feat when people are shaking the rope. The challenge to its authority is significant, not just from protests but from the erosion of trust that comes with widespread disinformation. The international dimension adds another layer of complexity. When figures like Donald Trump start talking about cutting U.S. aid, we're talking over $450 million annually, potentially hitting crucial programs like PEPFAR for AIDS relief. It's not just talk, it has real-world consequences. His administration even offered asylum to white South Africans, with nearly 60 reportedly resettled in the U.S. This kind of intervention, based on disputed claims, has understandably strained U.S.-South Africa relations. The danger of these narratives, especially the white genocide claim, goes beyond politics and international relations. It poisons social cohesion. In a country that has worked so hard to move beyond racial division, these stories can reopen old wounds and create new fears. They can make neighbors suspicious of each other,